play Inferno T side more in depth because I can't find something that explains what to do and why. All right, so you had a similar problem as we were having. I'm gonna just straight up tell you how we've been playing Inferno, okay? I'm gonna just straight up tell you, all right? Because this works at like the main level. CTs at like main to advanced, probably even ECL too. Just anyone in this rank, like everyone's so cocky, right? Like let's abuse that, right? Everyone's so cocky and they're like peaks. So the way to abuse aggressive solo CTs is just to pack up, right? If you're always packed up in a group and a CT aggresses into that group, he might get a kill, but you're gonna trade out on him. And because the pack is already there, you can explode onto the site because you just got the pick. If you were split default, where like you have 2 people car, 2 people apps, and this guy gets a pick, you get the trade, but there's only 1 guy car. You can't take advantage of getting the trade and you can't explode on the site. You start the mid round, that, you know, the rest of the round. You hit the mid round, make calls, throw fake, whatever the fuck, all right? How we've been kind of running this on most maps is just staying packed up until the CTs respect you. And then we go into a split default, or then we go into faster map control, etc. Like, usually want to enforce that respect before assuming it is there, if that makes sense. Because when you go into like defaults and you have like 1 guy car, 1 guy going up mid, 1 guy apps, like you should only be doing that if you know that the CTs are passive. Like, because the whole point of that is to take map control faster. You don't want to take map control slow against passive CT teams. They're just running down the clock on you and saving their util on the site. So that's when you want to like split up and take map control faster and cheaper, you know, solo or duo, whatever it is. But yeah, how we've been kind of running it is just staying packed up until the CTs respect us, and then we can go into split defaults, or we can switch it up how it goes. So like we usually start rounds packed up towards B, right? 4-1 towards B. You got like a guy going logs, guy going cubby, this guy holds smoke. You know, another thing we'd also do starting off our T sides is starting off with heavy util, just to establish that respect as well. Start off with heavy util so they respect car control, and then we end up cashing in on that because now we can expect that they're not going to play for car control 3-4 rounds down the line. We can actually contact car because they're probably not going to play for it because we just took car heavy as fuck the past 3 rounds. Conditioning, right? That's part of it too with the pack defaults, like playing fundy or playing light util, playing packed or playing split. That's like a general way to approach maps. Stay packed up, stay fundy until they respect you, then start changing the pace. You can actually skip this though if you do anti-strat work and you research the enemy team that you're playing against, and you can just see right off the bat their tendencies. And you'd be like, okay, maybe we don't have to start fundy. We can actually start passive, start split against these guys because yada yada yada. Like that's when you can start making exceptions. But you shouldn't just like randomly guess how you're gonna play against a team. You should have like a good standard way of playing against a team that you don't know of, because you don't know them. Like, you can't assume that they're gonna respect you. Generally, you can stay packed up 4 towards B. That's never a bad answer until the CTs start doing like heavy util, like double molly, double HE. Then you're just gonna like, you have 2 people out in banana and they're just taking so much util damage. It's like low-key just not even worth it anymore. So kind of like what we would do is like, if they're playing heavy util, then we just play to give up banana. And this is when we go for the late takes game. We'll play the late takes game on Inferno T side, where we just let them dump their util, right? Let them dump their util. We'll just 4-1 towards A, take brackets first, and come back and take banana later. And then when you're playing 4-1 towards A, like your if-thens, like your conditioning and your cashing out, like what you're trying to condition to like eventually cash out on, is usually arch control. Like this is the big thing right here, is arch control. And then also late taking bananas. Like these are like the things you're trying to play around. So when you're 4-1 towards A, yes, brackets is a part of, you know, the default. This is like a phase 1 goal. Like this is like a first step goal, is brackets control. Your next goal is either arch or banana or both. What you want to do is like establish arch control respect by taking this like really fundamentally with like a pack. And the way you can abuse this is to take arch control, fake arch control into a wagon exec. Because when you keep on taking arch control and you throw the shock smoke, right? You throw the smoke, clear out cubby, all that stuff. The CT whose moto is forced to respect this, because let's say you took it and you wrapped B 1 round. He's forced to respect this. He's gonna rotate, try and cover the flank, and then boom, you just like come up through wagon or pop apps, and you take like the 5-on-2 because you just pull the rotate off a site. Another way you can abuse this too is if you keep on taking arch control, you could throw a site execute, right? You throw a site exec, and then you pull the arch player into site, and then you actually wrap B. This is a good way to combat CTs that rotate a player off banana. Like, you know how people take banana CT side? They'll take banana, right? And they'll leave 1 guy just to jump spot and they'll rotate 1 off, and they end up playing 4A. 2 ways to abuse this. 1 way is to throw a site, an A site execute, right? You throw the site execute. There's usually 2 people site, 2 people arches. You pull the 3rd player into site to help defend the execute. Then you actually wrap arches instead. You take the 4-on-1 on the guy arches, and then you go through CT, and now you have 1 guy banana, 4 guys arches, kill the guy here, and then you just wrap with the 4-1 against 1 split. Like this is a good way to abuse teams that leave one guy to jump spot. Another way to abuse this too is to just bum rush banana, right? After they take banana control, you can just group up down here, flash in, and just straight up rush to site. Chances are you'll beat the CT's timings unless they're like playing fast rotate right here. But you can beat the timings and just take like the 4 or 5-on-1 on this guy here as he falls back to site. He'll probably end up playing for a retake. But yeah, those are good ways to abuse teams that like leave people here. If they keep 2 people here banana after they take banana control, then you just end up wanting to hit A just early. Just throw some type of arch take into A hit, or just throw some type of A hit and just take it. A is kind of weak, if that makes sense. So like usually you want to start packed up towards B. If they start doing heavy util, just give up B. If they're playing crazy amount of util, 3 mollies for whatever reason, just start packing up towards A. Because another reason too, if you're always grouped up towards A, like you're like in a 4-pack, like 4-1, you got one guy banana, he can listen for util. If he hears 3-man util on B, right, because they're playing util heavy, you can just know to explode onto A side because there's only 2 people here. So that's another reason why you just want to end up giving banana control and start packing up towards A, is because they're playing heavy util banana. And then if they're playing passive towards B and towards A, then you can go into your split defaults, start taking mana control faster, 2-2, 2-1-2, whatever you want. But yeah, that's kind of like, I don't want to go into too much detail of our actual protocols and stuff for what we have for like specific reasons, but I think those are pretty general answers that a lot of people already understand at a high level that I could talk about confidently on a YouTube video without having to worry about getting anti-stratted or something. Yeah, that's like if that makes sense about how to play Inferno. You can apply this map strategy or this idea of approaching T side to like a lot of maps. Some maps are different. Obviously they have different metas, but Inferno is a really good map for this concept of pack versus split. That makes sense.